Hey, what's up everybody? I've got a Robnostication you cannot miss. If you're wondering what's going to happen next in real estate, well, this Robnostication will give you answers from June to July and beyond. See you on the other side. Hey, what's up everybody? Rob Hau, Rockstar Realtor. That makes me the realtor and you the rock star. All right, so if you're looking for a realtor, well, you know Hau, you know Rob Hau, now you found him. Give me a call anytime. I'm gonna have some animal noises in the background every now and then because I'm in my house and I've got my 16-year-old beagle right next to me, and sometimes he likes to make a little choking sound. I don't know.
No, he's 16. What are you gonna do?
Anyway, I've got a whole bunch for you, everybody. I really have been relishing doing my Robnostications, and if you've been following along with just any of my market updates, you kind of know where I'm at with certain things, but I've got some really good stuff. I've got to talk about what I nailed in the last Robnostication, and what, of course, I think is coming next. Is the shit hitting the fan? That's what everybody wants to know. Are we looking at a 2008 type of economic crisis, housing
Bubble burst.
Is that what we're looking at here? Well, let's get into it, folks. Everyone wants to know SHTF. Just to put it bluntly, is the shit hitting the fan? I don't think SHTF is happening necessarily. I think there's some natural things that are happening after you have a historic market, at least currently. Now, I'm just speaking of housing in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's really what I'm going to pinpoint on. The rest of the economy, there's some questions there, but I do think housing, especially in Las Vegas, is going to hold up fairly well. If you're a buyer in the market right now, I want to talk to you real quick because the interest rates are going to be hard for the Fed to raise very easily right now. With gas prices as high as they are, with prices period as high as they are, being aggressive with the interest rate movement is going to be hard for the Fed right now. Here's a little Robnostication for you. I'm thinking that if we see in July, or actually from June to July, if we see a rate movement, it'll only be a quarter-point rate movement. I'd be surprised if they did anything more than that. I know they're dead set on raising the rates more. There is a lot of aggression to try to help quell inflation. And the interest rates help do that. It's one of the biggest things they can use at their advantage when we're talking about what our government can do and so on to sort of help inflation. But the gas prices being so high has really kind of put a damper on that quite a bit. And so I just don't think that they're going to be able to move rates drastically. Now, as a buyer, that means, or as a seller and buyer, this is maybe really important for you if you're thinking about selling and then buying, because you can get out, you can sell now during the summer or hopefully into the fall at basically the historic highs of the market. You're not going to be looking at getting the next new high, okay? That is gone. We are not climbing anymore. I can tell you that going forward, again, another Robnostication, we're going to see that we don't continue to have new median home price hikes and new highs in our marketplace. And that's throughout all of the other price ranges. Maybe some of the lower price range stuff continues to jump a little bit because we're still seeing some pretty good movement there. Properties below 800,000 or so are still moving pretty quickly, and anything really reasonably priced, even as you go on up the ladder, is moving. It's just we're getting back to a traditional market in that million plus area. That's definitely in the luxury market, taking a little longer to sell properties. So if you're thinking about doing it, you got to do it soon. Now, if you're thinking about selling and then buying, this is why I keep keying in on this, I don't think your interest rates are going to get any cheaper. Now, it's possible that over time, and a lot of people are predicting this, that over time prices will come down of the houses, but your interest rate isn't going to get any cheaper. Personally, I'd rather pay a little bit more for a property and have a lower interest rate than the other way around. have a lower price on a property and a higher interest rate. Generally speaking, your interest rate is going to cost you more in the long run. So now is actually a good time to buy, or very soon, to get into the market and start actually dictating from a buyer's perspective. It's technically not a buyer's market, but we are switching, and that is changing, and I'm going to go over again stuff that I nailed in my last Robnostication. Let's talk about where we are now. We just had a median home price increase of $7,000. It went from $475 to $482. Okay, so $7,000 increase in the median home price. That was expected by most, that we would have a little bit of a jump, and it's a pretty good jump, a little bit more than I would have thought, but overall not that surprising. I was thinking in between 5,000 and 10,000, but I had made a little bet with one of my friends, another agent that I go on her show, Angela O'Hare, and I did win that bet by guessing 5,000. She guessed 10,000, and then you know, we're looking at the months of supply. I'm really seeing change quite drastically. Last month, 0.8 months of supply. Okay, this month we jumped 1.2 months of supply. That's exactly what I thought would happen. It is exactly my prediction that we would jump to 1.2 months of supply. And that basically means that we're seeing a lot more listings on the market, and we have a lot of shy buyers after drastic rate movements that are just not really ready to get in. The prices are high, the rates are high. So they're not excited about that. They want to see things settle down a little bit. And I think we're getting into that zone, again, about as best as you can hope for, where your interest rate is going to be as low as it's going to get, and your power as a buyer is as strong as it's going to get with that combination. Now, over time, you might be able to muscle down a lower price, but again, if you're using a loan, it's going to cost you more. Now, if you're a cash buyer, I would probably talk to you a little differently.
Not probably, I would.
I'd say be patient. If you're using cash, be patient, because maybe in a few months, or maybe towards the end of the year, while the rates are higher, it's going to slow down a lot of your competition. Sellers are going to need to sell, and your cash is going to become even more king than it already has been. So that's something to look out for. What's happening next? All right, what's happening next with our median home price? I think it's going to be about flat. You know, if there is a small increase, it wouldn't surprise me, but I think it would be pretty small. I think we're going to see a flattening out. We're seeing price reductions, a lot of price reductions, especially in the higher market, and I think that's going to take effect, showing up in the median home price. And we're seeing, you know, more and more inventory come on. And I'm going to say that is going to continue in a strong way. Right off the bat, I'll say from June to July, I think we're going to be seeing from 1.2 months to over 2 months, maybe around 2.5 months supply that will actually jump to. And it could be as early as by the end of the summer, or certainly I would think by the time we're hitting into the holiday months of, like, you know, October, November, I think we may be in a full-on buyer's market with 6 months of supply. Could take till the end of the year or early beginning of the next year, but that's where we're headed. If things keep going the way they're going, I think that's where we're headed. There are a lot of people still trying to get settled, and that's who I'm talking to right now urgently. If you're looking to sell your home and go and purchase, you need to do it right away. That's my feeling. You should do it. You should get it while you're going to get a historic price, and while you're not going to get beat up too much by a buyer on that price, and ask for closing costs, and maybe even have to pay your realtor more. I talked about this before, that, you know, realtors like myself and others have wanted to take your listing because we know we're going to sell it pretty quick. You got a beautiful home, great listing, we're going to sell it pretty quick. We may give you a discount on the commissions, and even the buyer's agents might be expecting less. But as more inventory comes on, you as a seller have to start competing more and more. So that's why I say get out of that rat race, stay out of that rat race, and sell as soon as possible, and then buy, ideally with a large down payment that you earn from selling your home. The interest rate is going to be about as good as it can be, And maybe you can even buy down that interest rate, all right? So that would create a lot of positivity for you as a buyer, in my mind. If you're selling, gaining a lot of equity, using that equity to buy your new property, and even using it to buy down your rate, and going in with a little bit more negotiation power against these sellers right now, which again is only over time going to get a little easier for buyers and a little harder for sellers. All right, that's what I'm predicting. Over time, it's just going to ratchet up a little bit by little bit. You know, are we headed for a 2008-like crash? I don't think that's the case. I think, especially in Las Vegas, I think that there's softening. There's certainly, we're not climbing anymore, and we may come off of our highs as time goes, and sellers are sort of more and more having to compete. But generally speaking, I don't think sellers are just going to say, yeah, I'm going to take a giant haircut and go down unless they absolutely have to. I think a number of things economically on the larger stage would have to get much worse in order for us to get anywhere near 2008 type stuff, because people have a lot of equity. Okay, 2008, people were hanging on the edge. They bought in thinking the equity would grow. We don't have those kind of numbers. Of course, there were some people in the last year or so that bought, and they're going to be more on the edge, but they still, even if you bought 3, 4, 5 months ago, you got a little bit of equity. You know, if you bought a year ago, you got a lot of equity, maybe 25% equity. So unless we were to eat into that, and your situation would become, and I always talk about this if you're a buyer, if your situation became something where you can't afford your mortgage, well, you know, then that would be a dire situation. So you always want to be in a situation where you can, if things get tight, that you can afford your mortgage. I mean, this is your home. You need to be able to have your home, right? A lot of people are scarred from a time when in 2008 that they lost their home, and that it was just very different circumstances. So I don't think we'll be anywhere near that kind of a decline, that kind of a bubble burst. But, you know, we're in a changing market without a doubt. Okay, there's going to be lots of changes coming, and I am telling you all about them on my channel here. I want to let you know this right here represents the climbing of life, the climbing of stairs in life. That's why I have this. It always reminds me to keep stepping upwards, keep going, and make it to the sunny part of the street, if you will. Make it to that bright light area each and every day as much as possible. I hope you're doing that with yourself. I hope you're getting something out of what I do here on my channel. Please share my channel with people. Tell people about it. I think my channel's going good places. If nothing less, I know by the numbers that I have people paying attention and learning what I have to tell them. They're interested in what I have to tell them. And a lot of these people are my clients. I want to reach more and more, of course, but I'm very happy that I reach the people that I must and I need to. And I think this is sort of an update system for many of the clients that I work with. So it's great. Subscribe to my channel. There's a whole lot more where this is coming from. And as you know, as I said in the very beginning, if you're looking for a realtor, you know how, you know Rob Hau. I'm always here for you and whoever you know. Whatever might be happening, I'm happy to talk to you. So give me a text at this number below, or you can email me, tie that note around the rock, throw it through my window. I don't care how you get a hold of me. Just get a hold of me when you're ready, because I'll be ready for you. Hey, have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this month's Robnostication for June to July of 2022. Lots more coming just for you. So everybody just wants to know, is our SHT, everyone wants to know, everyone wants to know, SHT,